I was only halfway to the podium when a chair scraped so sharply behind me that the entire auditorium stilled. That sound metal dragged against polished wood cut straight through the music and applause. When I turned, Sienna Ellis, my older sister, was already on her feet, arm lifted, finger aimed at me like a verdict she had rehearsed. She cheated her way through her degree. She shouted, "She does not deserve that diploma." For a heartbeat, the room forgot how to breathe. Students froze mid-clap. Faculty stared. Phones rose like a forest of glowing screens. This is an original story written by the author of the Revenge World channel, built from familiar social issues with the purpose of helping viewers reflect, heal, and draw meaningful lessons. The content is not intended to depict any real individual. I kept walking because stopping felt like surrender. My knees trembled, but I held my posture, each step an act of will. Sienna's voice followed me, sharp and rising. "Tell them, Marin. Tell them how you lied." My parents sat in the second row, stunned into silence. My mother's hand hovered near her chest, as if she wanted to stand but could not decide who she was defending. My father leaned forward, whispering her name, but even he sounded uncertain. "Sienna," I said quietly, not turning around. "Please sit down." She laughed loud enough for everyone to hear. "Of course you want me to sit down. You always hide behind being quiet." Her words hit harder than the accusation. She knew exactly where to aim. The faculty marshal stepped toward her, speaking low. "Ma'am, you need to return to your seat. She needs to return her diploma." Sienna snapped. My breath tightened. None of this was a surprise. Not really. The warning signs had been building for years. But watching her unravel here, in front of thousands of people, felt like the floor finally giving way beneath something I had been trying to hold steady far too long. I reached the podium. The dean's expression softened when our eyes met, and the tiniest flicker of warmth steadied me. "If you are listening to this, I hope you stay with me. Stories like mine are not easy, but they matter, and sometimes hearing the truth helps us find our own footing." Long before graduation day, the fracture between us had been forming in small, almost invisible lines. I used to trail behind Sienna at family gatherings in Bend, always the quieter shadow. She filled every room without trying. I learned early that shrinking myself made things easier, but everything shifted the year I started to outgrow that version of me. My grades edged past hers. Teachers began calling on me more. When I opened the scholarship letter with my name on it, Sienna's smile held for a second too long. "That is great, Marin," she said, her tone warm but her eyes calculating. "I guess some people get lucky at the right time." "It was not luck," I whispered. She stepped closer, brushing past me as if I were in her way. "Everything is luck. You will learn that." I carried that comment into my first semester at the University of Cascadia. One afternoon, near midterms, I called home after noticing my scholarship refund was short by $950. "Do you know anything about this?" I asked my mother. She hesitated. "Maybe you misread something. Do not worry your sister with it. She has enough on her plate." From the background, I heard Sienna laugh at something unrelated, light and careless. "It just seems strange," I said. "Marin," my mother replied gently, "these things happen. Focus on your studies." But as I hung up, a quiet unease settled into my chest, the kind that tells you something important has begun to shift, even if you cannot name it yet. The first strange email arrived on a Tuesday night. A formal notice claiming I had missed a mandatory plagiarism review. I read it 3 times, my pulse climbing. I showed it to my roommate, Harper Lane, who looked up from her sketchbook. "You did not miss anything," she said. "You had that appointment. I saw you leave for it." "I know," I whispered. "But this says I canceled." Harper frowned. "Then someone is lying." "By the end of the week, Another email claimed I had skipped a tutoring session I never signed up for. Then my campus account locked me out for repeated suspicious logins. Standing outside the library, staring at the login error, I felt the same cold weight settle in my stomach. When I met with Professor Lyndon Hart, he folded his hands carefully. "A complaint was submitted about your behavioral analysis paper," he said. "I want you to hear it from me before it escalates. I wrote every word myself." I said, "I believe you," he answered, lowering his voice. "But someone is trying to make it look otherwise." His words stung more than the accusation itself. Later that night, Harper watched me check my phone over and over. "You're waiting for something else to drop," she murmured. I nodded. It all feels connected. The missing refund, the emails, the login blocks. "Do you think Sienna, I do not want it to be her?" I said quickly. Harper held my gaze. Wanting and knowing are different things. Her words landed hard. For the first time, the chaos around me felt intentional, like a series of small hands tugging at the threads of my life. One by one. I found Calvin Rhodes in a shared workspace downtown, his laptop already open when I walked in. He glanced up briefly, then motioned for me to sit. "Tell me everything," he said. So I did every strange email, every missing form, every login failure. He listened without interrupting, his fingers tapping lightly on the desk as if keeping time with my unraveling. When I finished, he turned the laptop toward me. "If someone has been in your accounts, they left footprints. People always do." 3 days later, he called me back. As soon as I sat, he rotated the screen. "These are your login logs," he said, "except for these entries here, and here. Those do not match your device." My throat tightened. "Where did they come from?" "A home network in Bend," he replied. "Your parents' area." I felt the air leave my lungs. That does not mean Calvin met my eyes. The pattern matches someone who knows your security answers and your habits. The denial I had been clinging to cracked. I pressed a hand to my forehead. "She memorized everything years ago." "Sienna," he asked gently. I nodded, tears burning at the corners of my eyes. Later that evening, I drove to Bend and found my father, Thomas Ellis, repairing a loose fence board. He looked up with a tired smile. "Marin, you did not say you were coming. I need to ask you something," I said. His smile faded. "You sound serious. Has Sienna said anything about me?" "About school?" He hesitated. "She has been tense. She said you get things handed to you too easily." I told her that was not fair. "That is all I asked." "That is all I know," he replied, but his voice wavered. From inside the house, I heard my mother call Sienna's name, followed by Sienna's light. Familiar laugh. I stepped back toward my car. "Dad, I cannot stay. Not tonight." "Marin," he said quietly. "What is happening?" I shook my head. "I will tell you when I have proof." His expression broke, but I could not carry his disappointment on top of everything else. I drove away before either of us said something we could not take back. I met Alyssa Crane the next morning in her compact office near campus. She reviewed the printouts Calvin had compiled, flipping through each page with a calm, practiced rhythm. "When do you want this to stop?" she asked. Her directness startled me. "Before she destroys anything else," I said. "Before she decides my future belongs to her." Alyssa nodded. "Then we prepare. You gather every document, every screenshot, every discrepancy. I will structure the case." Her confidence steadied something inside me. For the next 3 weeks, my life split in two. By day, I turned in assignments and sat through finals like every other senior at the University of Cascadia. By night, I sorted through evidence login timestamps, mirrored emails, the scholarship refund short by $950, notes from Professor Hart, Calvin's findings. Harper watched me tape another label onto a folder. "You are building a wall," she said softly. "I am building a boundary," I answered. The night before graduation, I barely slept. I laid everything out on my desk: Calvin's report, Alyssa's statement draft, financial discrepancies totaling $3,200. My hands did not shake this time. Harper leaned against the doorway. "Are you ready?" "I am done being quiet," I said. In the early morning light, I slid the sealed evidence packet beneath the inner lining of my gown. It rested against my ribs, solid and undeniable, as if it had become part of me. Graduation morning felt too bright, the kind of brightness that exposes everything you would rather keep hidden. Students gathered in clusters outside the auditorium, adjusting gowns, laughing, taking photos. I stayed near the edge of the crowd, one hand pressed lightly over the sealed packet beneath my gown. Harper squeezed my arm. "If she tries anything, you stay steady. You hear me, I will," I said, though my voice trembled. Inside, the auditorium buzzed with restless pride. Parents waved programs, faculty arranged themselves in neat rows. When my family entered, I saw my father's searching eyes first, then my mother, stiff and unreadable, and behind them, Sienna. She wore a white blazer, sharp enough to slice the air, her hair immaculate, her smile practiced. The moment our eyes met, hers flickered with something triumphant, almost hungry. She leaned toward me as she passed. "Try not to embarrass yourself today." "I will do my best," I said quietly. She smirked. "Your best is the problem." When the ceremony began, the dean spoke, the orchestra played, students crossed the stage one by one. My name, Marin Ellis, was near the end, which meant Sienna had plenty of time. She took it. The scrape of her chair was loud enough to halt the dean mid-sentence. Then she stood, voice rising with theatrical clarity. She cheated her way through her degree. She shouted, "Ask anyone." She manipulated professors. She lied about her work. She does not deserve to graduate. Gasps rippled across the room. A few phones lifted immediately. My mother whispered, "Sienna, please," but her voice barely carried. The faculty marshal approached. "Miss, you need to sit down." "No," Sienna said. "You all need to know who she really is." I inhaled slowly and stepped into the aisle. Every head turned. Some stared with pity, others with confusion, but none with the certainty Sienna expected. As I reached the podium, Dean Calloway met my gaze. His expression was steady, a quiet anchor in a storm. Under my breath, I said, "Evidence packet. Under seat C14. He did not react outwardly, only gave the smallest nod. Two faculty members shifted discreetly toward the indicated row. Behind me, Sienna's voice cracked as she shouted, "Say something! Marin, defend yourself." I did not turn around. "Not today," I said softly. Security reached her. One spoke in a calm, measured tone. "Ma'am, we need you to come with us." "You are all blind," she screamed. "She is the liar. She steals everything from me." Her words dissolved into echoes as they guided her toward the aisle. She resisted once, then again, her voice fraying. "You think this makes you innocent?" "Marin." I kept walking, my diploma in hand, my pulse steadying with each step. I did not need to fight her. The evidence would speak louder than anything I could ever say. After the ceremony, I met Dean Calloway, Professor Hart, and Alyssa in a small conference room behind the stage. The evidence packet lay open between them. Alyssa tapped one page. "These login timestamps alone show repeated unauthorized access." Professor Hart added, "And this mirrored email address. Someone went to deliberate lengths to impersonate you." Dean Calloway folded his hands. "This is substantial. Marin, the university will open a formal investigation immediately." I nodded, though a tremor ran down my arms. "I just want the truth on record." "Over the next weeks, Everything moved with an unsettling swiftness. Faculty reported suspicious emails they had previously dismissed. The scholarship office confirmed that $3,200 in refund funds had been redirected. Calvin submitted a full forensic breakdown. A campus official called one afternoon, "Miss Ellis, Sienna has been suspended from all facilities pending the outcome. We will keep you informed." That night, my father called. His voice was thin. "Marin, I should have seen it. I should have listened." I closed my eyes, swallowing the ache. "Dad, it is not your fault." "It feels like it is." "It is not," I said, though neither of us sounded convinced. When we hung up, the quiet settled around me. Not relief, not victory, just the faint sense that a long, painful truth had finally begun to surface. 3 weeks after the investigation began, I moved into a small apartment near Drake Park in Bend. Harper helped me carry in a second-hand desk while my newly adopted gray cat circled our feet like she already owned the place. "You look lighter," Harper said, setting the desk down. "I am not sure if I feel lighter," I answered. "Just clearer." A notice arrived the next morning, mandatory mediation as part of the restitution process. Sienna would be there. When I entered the mediation room in Eugene, she was already seated, arms crossed, chin lifted, eyes sharp enough to cut. "So this is what you wanted," she said. "Me sitting here while you play the victim? I never wanted any of this," I replied, taking the chair across from her. "But I will not hide from it," she scoffed. "You think you won. I think I finally told the truth." I said, "You did not erase my future, Sienna. You only showed me where it begins." For the first time, her posture faltered, just slightly, as if the ground she stood on shifted beneath her. 3 months later, the University of Cascadia released its final statement. I read it twice just to let the words settle fully cleared of all allegations. A separate envelope held a resilience leadership grant, small, but meaningful. Professor Hart called that afternoon. "You earned this." "Marin," he said, "not because of what happened, but because of how you carried yourself through it." "Thank you," I replied, my voice steadier than it had been in months. A student reporter interviewed me for an article on academic sabotage. When she asked for a closing remark, I told her, "Some battles are not about defeating someone else. They are about choosing yourself." Later that evening, I walked to the footbridge over the Deschutes River. The air was cool, gentle. In my hand was a folded note Sienna had written when we were children, once a comfort, later a weight. I loosened my fingers and let it drift into the current. Harper joined me at the railing. "Feels different now, does it not?" "It feels like a beginning," I said. "If my story finds you in a difficult place, stay a little longer. You are not alone. And if you want to walk with me through more stories like this, I will be here."